Hi there, Phil Pendlebury here, and today we're going to have a look at Waves' brand new Ocean Way Nashville NX plugin. So some of you might be familiar with the NX plugins. They're a great little series. What they do is basically emulate a room sound within your headphones. We'll go into that in a bit more detail in a minute. But the Ocean Way Nashville is the new addition to the collection. We've already got the actual NX, which doesn't emulate a specific room, and we've got the Abbey Road Studios series as well, which are great. So the Ocean Way Nashville emulates a particular room at Ocean Way. As you can see, I've got it up here in front of me, and you can see a picture of the room, or should I say an emulation of the room, really. There's two speaker sets in this particular plugin. There is the HR5. There is a picture of those. You can actually buy them. So this is the Ocean Way website. You can actually buy these, but they're the HR5, so they're the smaller of the two. And then there is the HR1, which look like that. They're huge, great big things. And there's the HR1s kind of hidden away at the back there. Without further ado, let's get on with it. So what's the goal of this plugin? Well, we've already made another video which revolves around trying to mix in headphones, trying to record in headphones, and some of the tools that we can use to help us do that. I've explained this in my previous video, but just for those of you that haven't seen that, the whole point here is that when you're listening in headphones, you have the sound injected directly from the left channel into your left ear and from the right channel into your right ear. So you don't get any interference, you don't get anything else. And in fact, it sounds great, doesn't it? Now, when we're listening on speakers, we get the left channel into our left ear, but we also get reflections from around the room put into our right ear from the left channel. If you imagine turning off your right speaker and then listening, you wouldn't only hear it in your left ear, you'd still be getting some of that speaker in your right ear. So the whole point of all these kind of plugins is to give you that crosstalk, that kind of feedback that you get from listening to a source in a room. Also, they try to emulate a little bit of the EQ. Some of them do this, like the Waves one has a small amount of headphones built in to try and give you the kind of EQ curve that you would hear. I'm not going to use that today because I don't want to influence the way that it sounds for people that aren't using the same headphones as me. So the idea is, with these specific NX plugins, is that they emulate a particular room. So in this case, it's the Ocean Way, you've got the Abbey Road, and then the generic NX plugin is basically a generic room. So I use the NX series with one of the pieces of Waves hardware, which tags onto the top of your headphones, a little Bluetooth controller, very handy. Basically means that when I move my head around, I get this kind of effect. And it's really actually surprisingly good once you get it hooked up. If you turn your head to the left, you get that, and if you turn your head to the right. Now, I'm not even going to turn that on today. We're just going to have a listen with everything basically central, but I will show you some of the movement as well. Right, no more rabbiting on. Let's get on with it. I've got a piece of music that I've prepared for this. I've got a few bits of different music, actually. I've got one piece, which is kind of an old 70s style electronic piece. Some of you will recognize the influences. And I've used that because it's not been published anywhere, so it won't get, there'll be no copyright strikes. I've got some drums, and then I've got a little bit of a voice. So let's just play the music, and we'll keep everything muted. At the moment, you can see all the tools that I'm going to show you today. In fact, probably not Morphit and not Can Opener, just the NX stuff today. And I've got them in my master outputs. Now, I mentioned this before, but let's just say it one more time. I would never usually do this. This is only because I want to record the source and record the result so that you can hear it. Normally, it would be in my control room output here, as you can see, so that I can hear it in the headphones, but doesn't get sent to the master outs. In other words, when I go to mix down, or when I go to export or render or whatever you want to call it, none of this is included. And that's one of the nice things about Cubase's control room section, is that you can put many plugins you want into the headphone section there, and they will not be featured in the audio export. But for today's purposes, I've got them where I wouldn't normally have them so that you can hear the results. So let's just play a bit of this music and we'll take it from there. Okay, so you get the idea there. It's one of those electronic pieces. Let's push it on a little bit. Now at this point the Ocean Way is not enabled, so you're just hearing the raw source. Right, so let's go back a little bit and now we'll enable the plugin and I'll flick between the two different speakers and yeah, we'll have a little chat about it after that. So here we go. Enabled. In fact, I'll switch it on while we're playing. Let's try the big set of speakers. But you get the idea. So basically, without the signal, it is just straight normal headphones as you would normally hear them. When I press the HR5 button and bring the plugin into action, you're basically getting an emulation of the small speakers or the smaller speakers in that room. And you're also, when I press the HR1, you're getting the big ones in that room. Also, there's an ambience control here. Now, we'll get to that in a minute. I'm going to move it around a bit just so you can see what it does. Basically, it adds some more reflections. I like to have it lower down, and you'll see why that is in a minute when we get to the voice demo, which I'm going to play for you. So let's just play. I'll fiddle about with the controls. The other thing is, if you see me rotating, well, it's interesting because you can imagine, maybe if you close your eyes when you see me doing that, it's very realistic. It really does. When you move your head with the especially with the NX hardware, you really do feel like you are looking at a set of speakers. In fact, it's often been said, and I still do it myself, quite often I will think, oh my goodness, I've left the speakers on. I've left the monitors on in the studio. Okay, so let's just play about, and you can hear some different sources, and we'll play a bit of the drums as well so you can hear what happens with those. And then I'll stop and we'll do the voice demo. You can really hear the bottom end on those HR1s. And again, this is one of the things with headphones, very deceptive usually on the bottom end. I know, there's lots of other fantastic YouTube channels out there that explain about how using a pair of headphones that you are used to and that you're comfortable with, you might not need any tools like this. And I totally get that. I totally get that. But I do think that these kind of tools add another dimension to your kind of mixing ability. So let's have a listen with some drums. So that's bypassed now. So what you're hearing there is when it's bypassed, you're hearing the straight signal, and everything sounds quite spread out, and like it does in a normal pair of headphones. When I enable this, you'll notice that the whole signal seems to move more to the center. It's not like it's being pumped straight in to your left and right ears, to your left and right ears, as if you've got other ears, right? It's not like it's being pumped straight into your ears, but it's more like the signal's being drawn in. And as you can see, that is the kind of position where those speakers are. Now, there's no way to move that on this particular plugin. With the NX plugin, which is hidden behind there, with the NX plugin, you can actually move the field. So you can, place the speakers either kind of similar to where they are on the Ocean Way, or you can move them further afield. I usually have mine round about here. With the Abbey Road version, it's very similar, as you can see. But with the Abbey Road, you've got the 3 different sets of speakers. I'm not going to go into them right now because that's not what this video is about. But everything is very similar, but there's no ambience control there. So you are using the ambience that is just built in to that room, and that's the way it is. Right, so let's just have another quick listen through that. Another really good way to be able to tell what this is doing is by listening to some voice. Try not to listen too carefully to what I'm saying, and just have a listen to what happens to the voice when we enable the plugin. Isosphere adjusts the directionality and frequency response of the modeling to compensate for coloration and optimize rejection for a range of different isolation filters. When Isosphere is enabled, the polar pattern is fixed and off-axis correction controls are disabled. Isosphere adjusts the directionality and frequency response of the modeling to compensate for coloration and optimize rejection for a range of different isolation filters. When Isosphere is enabled, the polar pattern is fixed and off-axis correction controls are... So you can really hear the ambience there, which is not quite so obvious when you're listening to a musical source. But let's just move it around a bit and you'll hear the difference. I mean, the thing is, we could play other sources, but the bottom line here is, well, what's the verdict? And from me, fantastic. Honestly, I will use this. I have used the others, and I will use this. You can't beat checking your mixes in different sources. So, of course, you're not going to let your mix go just purely on the strength of this. You're going to listen to it in the car, you're going to listen to it on your telephone, etc. And we'll get to that finally in a second, because I do have a little point that I want to make at the very end here. So yeah, for me, fantastic, absolutely fantastic. It gives me the feeling that I am sat in a room. I've never been to Ocean Way in Nashville, hopefully one day. So that's that. Yeah, go for it. I love it. And I'm sorry if my audio sources are not the best thing, but that's what you got today. Maybe some other people will put some different sources up for you to have a listen to. And of course, I've hoped that you were listening to this with headphones on. So, final point I have to make today before we go. So, we were saying earlier, okay, so check your mixes in other sources. Check on your monitors, check on your TV, check in your car, check on your little Apple earbuds. Now then, what was the last piece of pop music or regular music that you listened to? And what did you listen to it on? And this is the question, because honestly, I love my good quality and good sounding music. But the last piece of music I listened to, actually two pieces. One was one of my own singles that's just been released. I'm not even going to bother trying to plug that because it's not why I'm here. And the other was relatively new album from Deep Purple. Before that, the newish album from Donald Fagen. But all of them were listened to while I was out with my headphones on, with my Apple earbuds. And I'm not even a big fan of the Apple earbuds, but just so convenient. So there we have another point. If you are trying to emulate the sound of a mix from a pair of speakers, which inherently has different qualities to if you mixed on a pair of headphones. And again, you'll notice if you've done a mix purely on headphones without any of these tools, you'll notice the levels when you play them back through speakers might be slightly wrong. There'll be maybe too much vocal or not enough vocal in the center, or, just certain things don't quite sit right. I've done it myself. That's what you get when you don't check. However, if the majority of the people are listening to your final version on a pair of Apple earbuds, or even on a pair of super high quality hi-fi headphones, which are injecting that sound directly into your left ear, the left channel, and right ear, the right channel, then should we even be mixing through monitors these days? Should we not be mixing in headphones, because that's how people are going to hear the end result? And again, I'd be interested to hear in the comments, what you think about that. I'm not saying I'm asking the question. I'm not saying that is, a fact. But not only that, I'd be interested to see how many of you listened to your favorite pieces of music recently on a pair of hi-fi speakers or on a pair of studio monitors. Or did you listen on a pair of headphones? I'll leave you with that. I hope some of you will make some comments for me. Forgive me if this video was a little bit scrappy in places. It was very rushed. I had a few plugins on here as well that were interfering with the performance of the machine. But I think we got the point across. I still love it, and I will definitely use it. Thanks a lot, and I'll see you again soon.